Hey guys, living New York City after a whirlwind adventure. I think that started on the 1st of November and it's already what? 5th? 6th of November? I don't know, 6th of December. I think more than 1 month right here in the States, and it has been a real adventure because we traveled to many places, went to so many conferences, met so many new people, and reconnected with old friends. I think most importantly, some of the podcast guests that were on NFT Asia podcast, Metaverse Asia podcast, as well as Engine Starter Salon. It's great to reconnect and to meet them in real life. I think nothing better, than actually meeting people that you only get to talk to remotely over the past 2 years. So yeah, I really had a great time. I had a blast. I think starting from the first week one in New York City, that seems like so long ago, right? And I was able to actually, go right down to the city and meet and experience some great things, such as concerts by my bucket list bands. I think I have so many music concerts that I attended that I even lost track. Who did I see? So when that happens, right, maybe it's time to tone it down if you can't remember the memories. That's why, I always love to take selfies and record videos and make sure I have a picture taken of people that I meet so that I don't forget. And it's incredible because I think way back during the first week, I was able to catch some shows by Open and Mastodon. I think that was right after I attended my first ever NBA game at the Madison Square Garden, where I think Houston Rockets were visiting and they played New York Knicks. What else? Yeah, I walked across the street and went to this legendary theater. I think it's called what? Ballstein Ballroom, Hammerstein Ballroom, Hammerstein Ballroom. I don't know how you actually pronounce that. And yeah, that was a great show. Opeth, Mastodon was followed a couple of days later by Bob Dylan concert. I think that's definitely one of the bucket list items I wanted to strike off. Throughout my entire lifetime, it was great to see Bob Dylan in the flesh and still rocking it at age 80 years old. For someone who is, no longer as mobile as before, it's very interesting to see how you maneuver and navigate on stage. And most of the time, he's actually playing his songs, mostly from his new album, I have to say, and behind the piano and seated. So there were only like one or two occasions when he actually engaged the audience and talked to us about how some movies were supposed to be a hit. Like I think he mentioned about Rambo, or was it Arnold Schwarzenegger? I think that was a clip that probably I should have video and recorded it down on tape, but I wasn't able to because there's a strict no recording or filming policy for Bob Dylan concerts. But it was great because I think many people commented that he spoke more during the concert than ever. So yeah, that was memorable for sure. I watched David Byrne. I think that was a week or two before I saw Bob Dylan, and it was a Broadway, you can call it a musical, and basically he played so many Talking Heads classics and reworked them and present them with his new band. I think they were just a group of great musicians that really nailed it on stage and gave it a really refresh update for all these classics. Talking Head songs. So that was another memorable occasion. And I think it was called American Utopia. Comes with a great message throughout the whole show. I think the highlight was definitely right at the end. I remember I live streamed that as well, when every name was recited. People who were, victims, and people that he championed as well. And, remember for the Black Lives Matter movement. So that was one of the major highlights. I went out and see my other bucket list bands too, Obituary, pioneers of progressive, or should I say death metal. And they played together with industrial metalist Prong, as well as Black Label Society. So Zakk Wylde, obviously, the guitarist for Ozzy Osbourne, is now fronting his own band, and he was amazing. So it's like watching Thor perform on stage. That's another great memory I have. So many more, and I'm trying to recall the great conferences that we attended. Yes, the NFT.NYC was this is the one that started it off. And the reason why I'm in New York in the first place was because we wanted to basically, capture all these great moments and memories when this event was running. And 2 years ago, probably they only had a few hundreds of attendees, but fast forward 2 years later, they had, I think, over thousands of people who flew in from all over the world just to attend this amazing NFT.NYC event. So there are NFT artists, there are people in the crypto space. You have so many other people who are in the metaverse industry. They are all here as well because we are all the same tribe and part of Web3. And it's great to also meet tons of creators and congregate in the same place with all these conferences and talks being delivered by all these OGs, in the NFT space. It was incredible meeting them up close and personal, taking selfies and hearing them deliver 20 to 15 minute talks, which really update everyone, regarding what's coming and their predictions of what's going to come in 2022. So I've collected so much knowledge, so much new perspective from all these OGs, and it's going to be amazing to really having to dig through all my content and see which one I want to put out and basically repurpose, not just for our podcast, but also for our social media channels. So we have a network of podcast shows that we want to ensure that everyone is categorized and organized and represented in the right way. So look out for those clips, look out for those podcast episode replays. And that's NFT.NYC in a nutshell. We have to talk about after parties because a conference is only as successful as the satellite events and after parties, right? And right here in New York City, even a week after NFT.NYC wrapped up, there were still parties going on. And there are still people who are staying behind or staying on just to, catch the next flight out to Miami, where the next conference that we attended was taking place. And that happened from early December right up to even today. It's still ongoing. And I left a little bit early in order to catch my flight back to Singapore. But Art Basel Week and Crypto Basel is what everybody came for in Miami. So I would say that, the after parties in New York are more, should I say, more distributed and taking place in the entire New York City, whereas the ones in Miami are taking place either in South Beach or the downtown or even on Yacht, where parties are ongoing. And it was really interesting to see how everyone were doing their own after events and to actually take advantage of people who are here just for the conferences. So some of the memorable ones that I attended was definitely the rooftop party by Spatial.io. Shout out to Jake Steinerman for organizing a really kick-ass party on the rooftop. A little bit cold, but once you have your coat on, I think everything should be okay. And we met more people who came on to the Metaverse Asia podcast before, and they were there as well. And we have to talk also about some of the parties that happened even before our Basel Week started. And that's one really kick-ass party that was hosted by Gary Vee. I think it was right next to the fabled Oasis Wynwood, right at the art district of Wynwood, where you see mural and wall art on display everywhere you go, and it's just an impressive sight. And I've also mentioned an after party that I attended, which is the Wynwood Wall Garden. So it's a different crowd because most of the people there are for Art Basel. They're not your usual crypto or NFT artist tribe. But still, and I'll open up because we have auctions that were ongoing and basically renowned artists who are so focused on having gallery events and exhibitions. They were all congregating, and it's great to see another category of, should I say, art collectors showing up and showing love for art. So yeah, and I also attended another yacht party, which was really kick-ass, where it was hosted by the kind people from Vera. We were invited, and we were able to sit down and talk to the founders, including Pico and Edward. So more replays on that coming up as well. So much more. I'm pretty sure I've left out at least a dozen more other interesting things that went on during the past 1 month. Yeah, of course, we're going to talk about the CentralCon and Decipher, where I met so many fellow content creators. I'm talking about people like BitBoy and also Wendy O Crypto and many people from the daily podcast shows. And they were all there. And it was, of course, great to meet, I would say, one of the OGs of podcasts, Gary Vee, in the flesh as well. So I really enjoyed every singular moment, and I wish that we are able to bring some of these events right here to Asia, in Singapore, or even Bali. So I think definitely one of the to-do things that I'm gonna be doing when I'm back in Singapore is to talk to our network of friends who are in this space to see how we can do a similar event, maybe for Bali or even for Singapore, and bringing the cool kids from NFT world, the crypto world, and from the art and the music and the creator economy, and have them fly to Bali or even Singapore, so that we have one that is nearer to home. And most of people in Southeast Asia or even Hong Kong or like Thailand or China can fly over to attend without having to, work around these COVID restrictions, right? Which is actually a big, I would say, issue, especially those who are flying here. It's quite common to hear stories of how people wasn't able to get here on time, or they were unable to actually fly back on time because of some COVID rules that just sprung up. Like I have a friend who flew over from Miami to New York, and she was unable to travel because of some new rules by certain countries or cities that actually, due to the Omicron variant, is basically throwing things up in the air, and rules are being changed, especially COVID regulations every singular day. So always check your airline. Whenever you have booked a ticket, always book the flexible ticket that allow you to make unlimited changes. So like even my flight back to Singapore has been changed, I think, half a dozen times, because I've extended my stay to cover Miami, Art Basel Week, as well as to attend Decipher and DecentraCon. I was, basically, just super glad that this allowed me to change my dates. And of course, some restrictions on like when you take a test, what kind of additional tests you need to take. We're talking about not just the antigen test, but the PCR test, the pre-departure test, right? Every country has different rules. So if you're transiting or laying over at certain cities, right, they also have their own individual rules. So do check that out. And it takes a little bit more effort, probably an hour or two before you actually book your air ticket. But try to always go for the safest bet and get your insurance. I think that will always allow you to travel more freely and more confidently without being caught up in any snafu. So yeah, that's basically the nutshell about the entire month of traveling and attending conferences, cool events, after parties, music concerts, sports events, and more. So I'm actually looking forward to LA NFT, which will take place in February. And most likely I'll be extending my stay once again in the States so that I could cover South by Southwest in Austin, Texas as well. That's another cool event where basically all the Web3 people will be attending. I think starting off with LA and then moving down to Austin, and perhaps come back to New York again to attend some incredible concerts. I think there's a Led Zeppelin tribute or some interesting events coming up in February as well. And many bands have already started, kicking off their tours as well. So sometime around February, I think it will still be very cold, but just bring along your coat. I think everyone should be fine. So one last shout out to the podcaster from Unchained Podcast. I think Laura. Yeah, it was great to meet Laura Shin in the flesh, and we're going to be collaborating on some blockchain event involving females and women in blockchain. So that's something to look out for. And more interesting things lining up in 2022. I'm just super glad that I'm here to witness also the Christmas lighting of the trees here at Rockefeller Center and many parts of New York City. And you could actually walk around the streets near Columbus Circle, right, and see trees being sold openly on the streets. And people are all geared up and ready for a really special Christmas. I think this would be more special because of what we all went through for the past 2 years with so many events being cancelled, right? I'm not sure whether they will also be dropping the ball this year on New Year's Eve, but definitely, if this event is going to take place, I'll be watching the live stream and to see how people all over the world are congregating over in NYC once again to commemorate this special event. I think this is definitely one of the things that make us feel alive and let us look forward to the holidays. And New York City is Big Apple for a good reason. This is where things are happening and sparking off all kinds of opportunities and connections and memories. So here's my super long recap. I think it's almost 15 minutes long. Hope you enjoyed this recap. I'll upload this everywhere, including putting it at the end of every episode that we're going to do replays on all our podcast network of shows. So you'll be hearing this recap as well as our interviews with each and every singular person that we met during all these amazing conferences. So with that, my name is Wayne. That's the end of my full report. I'll see you really soon during our next travel. And have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Bye.